What is going on, guys? This is Rentaro Gaming with my review of Black Bullet episode 6. And this episode, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. I definitely like the way that this arc, I guess you could say, that we're building up. It's really getting good. And I do believe that we are getting a new opening. And if the opening is new, because I do believe that I only watched the opening, at least one time, so I could be wrong here. But if this here is a new opening, then I'm definitely digging it. I love the song that they use. But the episode itself, it starts off with Tina here. She contacts Rentaro and they meet, I believe, in like some place close to this river. And we see now that Rentaro here, he has bought Tina some food. And I believe it's like some popular dish in Japan, and it's like these octopus balls. And we see that because Tina had problems, waking up in the morning, she starts putting on her caffeine pills on the food, and that right there was hilarious. But we see now that when she does, try to eat them, I'm guessing she's not familiar with this, so she actually, drops about 2 of them before Rentaro steps in there and starts feeding her. And so that right there was like definitely nice. And you could see that Tina here, she was definitely enjoying herself. And so then we see that our 2 characters here, they're like bonding more because Tina is having such a great time with Rentaro, and she's like really liking him because she even says that. And I definitely felt bad for her because clearly she's going down on the wrong path right now. And whoever her master is, he's just using her. And we see that Rentaro himself, right now, he also struggling because he's just trying to figure out who enrolled to this sniper that were trying to kill Senteshi, the other night. And so now we see that Tina here, she actually gets this message that like causes this alarm to go off, and so she has to leave Rentaro, which definitely sucked. And so we see that while she's walking away, she actually stops to ask Rentaro if they can meet again, because clearly she likes the guy, and of course she wants to spend some more time with him. And so Rentaro was saying that of course she can, and now we see that the person who was contacting her, it was her master, and now her master here giving her is giving her another job, and he actually wants her to take out Kisara, because we all know that Kisara, she is Rentaro's boss. And I guess the leader feels like that if she takes out the leader or takes out Kisara, then Rentaro will just drop that job, which definitely not be the case. But now we see that Tina, she has plans on accepting this and going after Kisara. And so now we see that Rentaro, he has now gone to meet Miori, hopefully I'm saying her name right. And we see now that Kisara, she's like being on that crazy mode right now, and she was actually planning on killing Kisara. I mean killing Miori. I believe she was going to go as far as to like shooting her with her gun. And so now we see that Minori, she actually opens her door rather quickly and she pulls in Rentaro before she locks out Kisara. So that right there was like definitely hilarious. And when Kisara was like planning on taking down this door, Miori was just saying that if she does that, then she'll just charge Kisara, for the damages, and that right there kind of stopped her, at least for the moment. And so now we see that Miori, she had this like really awesome office, as we see, as we see that the next door to this normal looking room, it seemed to be like her own personal headquarters, as we see that this room is like definitely very high tech. And I had no idea that that fan that she actually as a weapon could actually also be a remote as well. That right there kind of surprised me. But we see now that she actually did this analysis of this bullet, and we see that this weapon, it was not used in a previous crime. So this right here, this sniper, this right here was like Tina's first time using it. So either she actually changes her weapons like depending on her target, or she always uses a new one. So I'm guessing that way they can't track it back to her. But now we see that on this screen, we see now that from the range that Tina shot the limo, it should have been impossible, but because she's a cursed child, she can do that. So it goes to show you how far advanced these children are. And now we see that Miori, she was like trying to well, like always, she like really like flirting with Rentaro, and always trying to bring him to her side. And it was hilarious, how flustered he was getting, And I definitely like how Miori here does not hold back, because she knows what she wants and she will go after that, because it was hilarious, you know, the way that she was kind of like pushing her body onto him and she was like touching his hand. That right there was like really freaking funny. And now we see that Kisara, she's had enough, as we see her now that she actually, you know, cuts down the door that leads into, you know, Miori's office. And so now we see that Miori, she's trying to, you know, like make up this like huge scene saying that that Rentaro will like leave Kisara's office if Miori gives her body to him. And that was freaking hilarious, because obviously, you know, Miori here is scheming things, but sadly Kisara, you know, fell for that. So after that whole fiasco was over with, we actually go to Rentaro Sensei, who we all know as this famous doctor. And so we actually get, you know, like some more background about her and about that new humanity plan. And so his sensei, now her name escapes me at the moment, but she was not the only one that was like a part of that plan. There were 3 other people that were geniuses like her, and they were all like from different places in the world. And we actually learned that Kagitane, he was actually made by this scientist from Germany. And so I forget these scientists' names. I really did not remember them, because I do believe that, you know, that the only thing that they'll be important for is for identifying their work. So I felt like that they wouldn't be that important, but maybe they will, you know, later on in the story, but who knows. And so now we see that they actually show like this body that was like, you know, almost completely black. I'm guessing, you know, that right there is from the virus, and it goes to show, you know, how much work and time they have put into these things. And we also learned that, you know, most of these soldiers that actually came out from this plan, they're actually like Rentaro, and they're also, you know, civil officers. So I do wonder, you know, if that guy Shogun, if he also like Rentaro as well, like maybe part of his body is like covered in metal or something, because that right there would be pretty awesome. So I do want to see more of these soldiers, and I do want to see, you know, how they are, because we see Rentaro and he's awesome. So I would love to see, you know, how the others were. And Miori also said that she also wanted to see Rentaro's full power, and I definitely don't think that we saw all he could do against Kagitane. And so even Rentaro here, he feels that when he beat Kagitane, that right there was on luck. And we see now that his sensei actually agrees with him. And so I definitely feel that because he got so lucky, that there's no way that Kagitane is done for. So I do expect him to come back sometime soon. I just have no idea when. But after they were done talking, we see now that Rentaro was going to leave. And Enju, of course, was going to go with him because she was there as well. But we see now that his sensei actually wanted her to like stay behind. And so I found that, you know, rather interesting, because I thought that she might tell, you know, Enju the truth. And so I do wonder, you know, like why did she want Andrew to stay behind? And I am kind of upset that we did not get to like really learn that, because we see that when Rentaro does question Andrew about it later on in the episode, she just gave like this vague answer, like she said something about her speed or something else, and it's just not go into that detail that I wish that we could have got. But now we see that that Tina, she was now walking to where Kisara is, because we all know that's her target. And she was talking to her master now, and her master was like telling her who the people that got in her way was. So she already learned about Enju, but when her master was gonna tell her about Rentaro, some guy had to bump into her and cause her to like drop her phone. And then we see that when she picks it up, the line was dead. And so I really wish that, you know, she could have heard that, because I felt like if she knew that it was Rentaro, that she probably would have never went after Kisara. But now we see Kisara, she's now doing, you know, this paperwork, and we see that when Tina does get there, like immediately, we get this fight started because as soon as Kisara, confirmed who she was, Tina just pulls out this Gatling gun and starts, shooting out the place. And now we see that that Kisara, she is definitely fast. Now she can move, and we see that when she got the chance to, to counterattack, she actually cut that Gatling gun. So that right there was impressive that she was able to, to cut that sword so easily. But it sucked though how Tina, was almost easily able to overpower her. But we see that when Tina got the upper hand, we see that she was like kind of scared. So I do believe that Tina had probably never killed somebody, even though it might seem that way, because if she has killed before, then why would she hesitate to kill Kisara? Because that right there makes no sense, especially when they had not met before. So that must mean that either some other circumstance must have killed her target, or maybe sometimes she can't kill a person, and maybe sometimes she can't. But we see now that Tina, she quickly shook away her fear, and we see that she dropped the gun, and she actually started to strangle Kisara, and that right there, almost got me worried. But we see now that Kisara, she's now crying out for help, and of course she calls Rentaro, and he comes. And I definitely like his fighting style. It's definitely pretty awesome. And we see now that that him and Tina, they're like definitely into this like little scuffle at first. But Rentaro here was like fighting with his eyes closed, and that right there, definitely struck me as odd, because like how can he be, fighting so well if he cannot see his enemy? And so when he does open his eyes, we see now that both of them, they are definitely shocked. And we see that like Tina had definitely wanted Rentaro to like listen to her, but he just would not do that. And so I definitely felt that Rentaro here was like in the wrong, because this girl had befriended you, and you done so much for her, and you can't even bother to listen to her, because obviously they could work this out. But now we see that they're both they were both struggling for control of the gun, because Tina did shoot it by accident. And so we see now that Rentaro get Kisara to cut the floor, and we see one of her techniques, which was definitely pretty cool. And we see now that the floor itself is now destroyed. And so once they fall, we see now that Tina, she has snuck off, leaving Rentaro there like alone. And so I thought at first that Tina had somehow hurt Kisara, because we see at one point she like collapses, and luckily Rentaro did catch her, and we see that she's in a lot of pain. So I thought Tina might have shot her by accident. But we actually learned that Kisara, she actually needs a kidney transplant. And so I believe she said that the reason that she would not get one was, one, she cannot find a donor, and the other one, I believe it was because if she does get one, then of course she'll forget the pain that she goes through, and if she does that, then she'll forget to take revenge. And it was definitely weird that she actually wants to rid the world of her family name. I do wonder why it is that. Now hopefully they will expand on that, because I definitely found that pretty weird. But now we see that Kisara, she is definitely not one to sit around and do nothing, as she immediately took off that hospital equipment that was attached to her, and she was now standing. And we see now that she actually wants to be brave here, because of the way that Miori was acting, and she actually wants Rentaro to hold her hand. And then earlier we had saw his sensei scolding him for never taking that risk and pushing through his hesitation to move forward with Kisara, and that is why they are together now. But we see that when Rentaro was going to do that and take her hand, we have Anju appearing out of nowhere, and she started groping Kisara's breast, and that right there was freaking hilarious. That right there was definitely funny. And so now we see that they're all leaving the hospital, and we see that Kisara, she actually accepts that she could possibly die, because she was saying that at the order of the president, then she had ordered Rentaro to take down Tina no matter what and bring her to justice, and Rentaro feels like he has to be the one to take her down, nobody else can do that. And so then we see that once again Rentaro is now protecting Senteshi, but he actually got this idea to use a decoy car where he stopped using that limo because it can be too dangerous. So he kind of put the ruler herself and like the kind of like, you know, like downgrade car, and at first it definitely seemed to be working because there was no, you know, incident. But once they got there, we have her head of security. This guy I can't stand, and I still believe that he could be the one that's definitely behind this. He was like getting really mad, and of course he was like showing his true colors to Rentaro. I was almost surprised that that Senteshi did not get in there and, you know, tell him to calm down because he was just getting way too upset. But now we see Tina's there as she actually shoots one of the guards that was holding up these like riot shields. And so now we see that that Tina, she actually had this like pretty good shot on Senteshi as she was actually, you know, gonna shoot at her. But luckily we have Rentaro now that pushed out the way, but he took the hit instead. And this bullet seemed to do like more than graze him because he was like definitely losing a lot of blood. But now we see that actually, you know, get into the car, and of course, you know, they're gonna drive off. But we see that while they were like escaping, we have Rentaro knowing that Tina was definitely going to strike again, and he had Enju look out, and of course, you know, she saw a flash, and that's when we saw another bullet, you know, like hit a window. And so now they have to hide, you know, in a garage because obviously they cannot, you know, take down Tina while they're on the street and she is like somewhere far away. And so now we have Enju, who actually planned on going there alone because she was saying that she can make it there in time if she was by herself. And so Rentaro here tried to have some like faith in her and lets her go there. But we see now that the ruler herself, Senteshi, when she first heard of Tina's name, she had quickly done just like research on her, and so we actually learned that, you know, Tina is definitely, you know, like had a lot more to her character than we've seen so far. Now I don't know what Enju rank is, but apparently Tina rank is 97, and so obviously right now she is too strong for Enju, you know, like to take on. But when Rentaro contacts her to tell her to come back, we see now that Enju doesn't answer her phone, but instead it's Tina, as she never says a word. And so Rentaro here is trying to get through to Enju because he thinks it's her. But we see now that after a while he finally realizes that it's Tina, and so in shock right now because he thinks that Enju is possibly dead because we have no idea what happened to her. He dropped the phone in shock. And so that right there, I do wonder, you know, like how badly did Tina beat up Enju? Because I do hope that, you know, like maybe next week they'll show some little flashback, I guess, of their fight, so we can see exactly what she did. But for some reason, I don't think that, you know, Tina really, you know, beat her up that badly, because I feel that, you know, Tina right now is definitely a kind soul. She's just walking down the wrong path right now. So maybe, you know, Rentaro will get through to her because Tina does like him, and he could bring her back to the right side. But like I said, this episode and this like arc, I guess overall, I am definitely enjoying it because we are seeing some pretty awesome characters. Tina is definitely unique, like the way she is in the daytime compared to how she is at night. It is truly unique how she goes from that. And I definitely feel that we are getting, you know, some strong character development for Rentaro as we see his character like slowly evolving and growing. And so that I am digging. And I guess this like love rivalry between Kisara and Miori is definitely funny at times as well, because I feel that comedy that we get from these two when they're together, it is definitely needed in this series. But as always, I would love to hear what you guys thought, because to me the episode was like freaking great. So I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.